Hello internet, Taliesin here, and today we're talking World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth, obviously. But you know what, today's video was supposed to be quite a bit different. It was supposed to be about class changes on the alpha, which I think you'll agree is an awesome idea for a video. I mean, seriously, look at all these changes. There's loads of them, and the great thing about these changes is that they keep on changing pretty much every single day. So I could do that video, you could all watch it, I get the sweet YouTube monies, and then next week I could make essentially the same video again, but with all the new changes, get all the sweet YouTube monies again, etc. every week right up until the expansion releases, by which time I probably wouldn't bother making YouTube videos at all because I'll be too busy chilling out Max on my new private island, sipping cocktails with Sting and Bellular while Elon Musk does a little dance. Why is Elon Musk dancing? Simple, because I told him to. He doesn't get fed if he doesn't dance. Those are the rules. Elon knows the rules, so he dances. He dances good. But you know what? Oh, no, because yes, the class changes are interesting and a totally valid thing to cover. And yes, we will undoubtedly do our usual class guides when the time comes, and the odd video here and there before that as we see fit. But today, I want to have some fun, and I want to talk about an idea that made me literally wake up in the middle of the night giggling to myself. So I'm sorry everyone, but today we are talking allied races. Again, I know, and I promise this will be the last one for a while, but bear with me, okay? Because I significantly want to talk about Draenor Orcs, the upcoming allied race that Ian has confirmed is going to be added to the game at some point during the next expansion. That's old news, even if there are some pretty tantalizing questions still surrounding them. Like, when we say Draenor Orcs, do we mean ones from old Draenor, which is actually current Draenor and is actually Outland from Burning Crusade, or do we mean new Draenor, which is actually older Draenor and actually a different Draenor from Warlords of Draenor? And when we say Orcs, do you mean brown-skinned Frostwolves, or Magar, or kind of grey Laughing Skulls, or man, maybe red ones, why not? And then of course there's the question of which faction they'd fight for. Wait, hold up, what was that? Of which faction they'd fight for? Yeah, that's what I thought I said. Orcs are the ultimate Horde race. They embody it like nothing else, and to suggest that they would be anything other than a Horde race is the single most stupid thought anyone has ever had since Shia LaBeouf thought this. It just doesn't make sense, okay? Well, I want you to know, I agree. Truth be told, I feel a little bit dirty even making this video, and I wouldn't even have given it a second thought a couple of weeks ago. But what if I told you that recent revelations from the Battle for Azeroth Alpha, as well as Datamined broadcast text from other scenarios, have got a lot of people thinking twice? What if I told you that far from being the deranged howlings of an overworked YouTuber, the idea of Draenor Orcs being an alliance race is one that is gaining some surprising traction among parts of the community, and one that has pretty compelling evidence to support it too? And really, underneath all this sensationalist talk of orcs fighting for the alliance, there's a really rather interesting point to be made about where exactly the story of WoW seems to be heading. A story that has huge implications for the Horde leadership and the alliances that form the very core of that faction. And that's what we're going to be looking at in this video. So join us as we take in the spoiler-tastic evidence from both sides and ask, will Draenor Orcs be for the alliance in Battle for Azeroth? Okay? Go. Let's get straight to the theory itself, and be warned because we are now heading face first into Battle for Azeroth spoiler territory here, okay? Right, well, the reason all of this insane talk about Alliance Orcs has reared its ugly, misformed head at all is all down to one character, Saurfang. However you like to say his name, Saurfang is one of the all-time great orcs in the history of the Horde, having served in all three wars, sorted out business in Anchorage, been on the right side in the Siege of Orgrimmar, and in the here and now, just being the coolest looking model ever created in green skin. I mean, seriously, look at this guy. With him and Zappy Boy on the same side, the Alliance don't stand even a chance in the coming war. It hardly seems fair. Basically, Saurfang has nothing to prove to anyone. He is a serious badass who's seen it all, killed most of it, and consistently been on the right side of Azeroth history. What I'm saying is, Saurfang is as Horde as it gets. And yet, there are whispers in the deep, dark corners of the internet that Saurfang is about to do the unthinkable. Mutterings regarding Datamined broadcast text from the upcoming Teldrassil and Lordaeron scenarios that this mainstay of Orcish honor may be about to go rogue, that Saurfang is about to turn traitor. So what's going on exactly? Well, as we all know, there's a massive sword sticking out of Azeroth which appears to be causing some leakage, mainly of an uber-powerful, hitherto unknown resource called Azerite, supposedly the very crystallized lifeblood of the planet's Titan world soul. No one really knows Azerite's full potential, but they know it makes an awesome centerpiece for a snazzy Kayn, and also that it's apparently pretty good for powering massive war machines. So the early premise for Battle of Azeroth is basically a nuclear arms race between the Horde Horde and Alliance for control of this stuff, with the Horde having a head start. And even at this stage, in the 735 cinematic where Gallywix first brings Azerite to the attention of Saurfang does not seem exactly thrilled with some of his table mates at Horde Leader Dinner Club. At the time, we all put this surly attitude down to him being about 1,000,000 years old and a basic gruff orc badass, but in hindsight, is it possible that there are genuine feelings of disillusionment with the leadership showing themselves here? One thing's for sure, he does not trust Gallywix, and he wouldn't be too thrilled that all of Sylvanas' actions from here on in are motivated by the substance that Gallywix brought to her from Silithus no less, and as we all know,
nothing good has ever come out of Silithus.
And from there, let's jump ahead to a pretty major event in our future, the burning of Teldrassil. Now, at the time of writing, we know nothing about this except for these two Blizzard artworks, 15,000 internet memes, and this Datamined broadcast text. Now, it goes without saying that Datamined broadcast text is basically the WoW equivalent of those sexy girls with no followers who heart your posts on Twitter. Definitely not something we should be putting a whole lot of trust in, especially as Christy Golden herself recently said as much. But thanks to the witchcraft of Wowhead, it's here, so let's look at it. An unidentified voice, possibly that of Saurfang, but more probably that of the player character, confronts Sylvanas. Warchief, may I ask why we want to capture Teldrassil? A question that certainly suggests the Horde are the aggressors in the coming conflict, and a response that pretty much confirms it. No matter what I do, this will change the balance of power. What will war look like in 20 years? In 100? The Horde's children and their children's children will curse our memories as they burn. The Horde and the Alliance have been at a stalemate. Both of our armies have been exhausted against the Legion, and therein, I see an opportunity. We take this Azerite and use it to conquer Kalimdor. We build the greatest empire ever known, one that is untouchable against the Alliance. So you have to say, really, however noble her intentions, the burning of Teldrassil would appear to be a bit of a dick move from Sylvanas, and the action which really kicks off hostilities between the two factions in a big way. I suspect this is what Christy Golden is referring to in her tweet, because I wouldn't be surprised to see this toned down a bit and the Horde given a more sympathetic motivation for attacking Darnassus, because at the moment it really does seem pretty indefensible. But then on to the Battle for Lordaeron, the probably pre-patched scenario where players live through the action following directly on from the Battle for Azeroth cinematic trailer. Now, of course, here Saurfang is on the front lines repelling the Alliance attack, and to be fair, he does not look like much of a traitor here when he's shouting for the Horde. We have broadcast text for a conversation between Sylvanas and Saurfang directly after this happens. The conversation is only from Sylvanas' side, but the gaps aren't that hard to fill in. Do not question me, Saurfang. We must draw their attention from my war machine so it can destroy the towers. Casualties are inevitable. Honor means nothing to a corpse, Saurfang. You have the luxury of underestimating death, but it is something with which I am intimately familiar. Maybe you don't care if your people die so long as it is honorable, but to me, this Horde is worth saving. Anyone who disagrees does not deserve to stand among us. So die your warrior's death, High Overlord Saurfang. It means little to me. Perhaps I will raise your broken body to serve me once more, or perhaps you will have a chance to say hello to your son. Oh no, she didn't! Needless to say, Sylvanas is not out to make any friends here, and even though we don't have Saurfang's responses, it's probably fair to say that it probably wasn't. You know what, Dark Lady, I'm totally convinced. Thanks for the motivation, I've never been more on your side right now. Especially when the very next line Sylvanas says is, Saurfang, where the hell did you go? Well, the answer to that question is, it would appear he got himself captured by the Alliance in the battle, because now we move on to the Stormwind Extraction, the Horde scenario that is intermittently playable on the Battle for Azeroth Alpha right now. It's meant to be the start of the Zandalar campaign, where you and the other Horde leaders sneak into the Alliance capital to rescue Princess Talanji and, yes, Saurfang. But the problem is, Saurfang doesn't seem to want to come with us. He says that he'll buy us time to escape before handing himself into the nearest Stormwind guard and demanding to speak with Anduin, which is... it's thought-provoking, if nothing else. So to recap, Saurfang doesn't trust the Horde leader most directly influencing the actions of the Warchief. He appears to have an actual confrontation with Sylvanas in the midst of a battle where they are fighting for their lives, which ends with Sylvanas severely bitch-slapping him down and then Saurfang getting captured by the enemy. When we go to rescue him, he's all like, thanks and everything, but you run off, I need to hang out with my boy, the Alliance leader. Can you see why people might be a bit suspicious of him? And here's a question. If Saurfang is making moves with Anduin against Sylvanas, would that actually be betraying the Horde? He did the same thing to Garrosh and no one called him a traitor then. If Sylvanas really is off the rails, does that make Saurfang a traitor or a freedom fighter? Well, that is not a question I intend answering right now, and the answer isn't important anyway. What matters is, if Saurfang thinks he's doing the right thing, could he really wind up throwing his lot in with Anduin and the Alliance? And would the Alliance even trust him? It would probably take something big to prove Saurfang's loyalty. Something like some kind of forces to join the cause, like maybe some orcs. And if Saurfang really does believe that the Horde horde under Sylvanas, a horde which burns cities without provocation and poisons the land with blight and plague, is a horde without honor, then he'd probably want to enlist some forces whose code of honor he understands very well indeed, like some Draenor Orcs. And you can see how this theory started to take shape. Saurfang, hero of the horde, is disgusted with what the horde has become under the war chief and turns to his biggest enemies to get things back to how they should be again. Except this time he brings some Draenor Orcs with him, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the newest allied race ends up fighting for the Alliance. Does this theory make sense? Well, yes, frankly, it does. Can I see it happening? If I'm honest, absolutely not. No matter how much I try, there is not enough tinfoil in the world to make the hat big enough where I can see Blizzard letting orcs fight for the Alliance. Especially not the brown orcs that Horde players have wanted forever, especially if they get straight backs as well. Oh god, can you imagine? I'm just imagining it now, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but seriously, can you imagine? Can you imagine their little faces? And despite how funny it would undoubtedly be, I wouldn't actually want it to be true either. The orcs are the Horde. They've always been the Horde. Apart from anything, it would just really ruin the box image of Battle for Azeroth itself. No, I just don't see the Draenor Orcs being anything other than the Horde allied race. I've said in previous videos that I think Eitrigg will actually be the one to recruit them, and that still fits even if Saurfang is a traitor. Because it's possible that while Eitrigg doesn't agree with Saurfang's betrayal, if indeed it is a betrayal, because it's probably not, is it? It's probably just building an interesting narrative where we all keep guessing a character's motivations and intentions to dramatic effect. It's likely he would sympathize with it and be pretty keen himself on bringing some old school orc honor into the Horde to even out all the unprovoked city burning and undeath nasty. And even though Ian's use of the term Draenor Orcs suggests Warlord's alternative universe Draenor, the Datamined Magar Battlewolf looks suspiciously like it is the allied race mount in question, which would suggest that actually it is the Magar from BC's Outland that we're enlisting. The small mixed clan band of orcs who were the very few that chose not to drink of the fell Kool-Aid, and thus probably the most honourable old school orcs around. Maybe Eitrigg brings the Outland Magar into the Horde, and Saurfang brings alternative universe Draenor Orcs into the Alliance. Is that too much orc? Yeah, that's probably too much orc, isn't it? Okay, maybe forget that last one. But whatever ends up happening, the story of Battle for Azeroth is shaping up to be really provoking, very mature in its complexity and depth, and as this video proves, one that's going to keep us guessing all the way through. And I don't know about you, but that makes me very excited indeed. Yes, even more excited than I am about the demonology changes, even more excited than that. So what do you think, guys? What's going on with Saurfang? Is he about to turn against the Horde? Should he turn against the Horde and try and bring it back to its pre-Banshee Queen roots? And is it just possible that the most controversial playable character option in the history of Warcraft is about to come our way, and Draenor Orcs will be crying for the Alliance in Battle for Azeroth? Let us know in the comments below. And thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give their actual real life money to make them happen. You guys really are the best, thank you. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Matt Rossi. No, my name is Taliesin from me and Evitel. Until next time, cheerio.